starting with the Colorado Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets.
So the Jets lineup, first line is Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Gabe Vilardi. Second line, Nikolai Ehlers, Sean Monahan, Tyler Toffoli. Third line, Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, and Mason Appleton. Fourth line, Morgan Barron, Vladislav Nemesnikov, and Alex Iafallo. D pairs are Josh Morrissey, Dylan DeMello. Second pair, Brendan Dillon, Neil Pionk, and third pair, Logan Stanley, Dylan Sandberg. And in net, we got Connor Hellebuck and Laurent Brossoit, and there's no injuries.
No
So,
injuries.
Avs, first line, Jonathan Drouin, Nate McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen. Second line, Arturi Lehkonen, Casey Middlestat, and Val Nichushkin. Third line, Miles Wood, Ross Colton, and Zach Parise. Totally lost on him being there.
Yeah.
Andrew Cogliano, Yakov Trenin, and Brandon Duhaime. D pairs are Devon Taves, Cale Carr, Sean Walker and Josh Manson, Jack Johnson and Caleb Jones, and the goalies are Georgiev and Justus Anunin.
Injuries, they've got Pavel Francouz, who's out for the season, I believe. Logan O'Connor out for the season. Samuel Girard is day-to-day. And of course, Gabriel Landeskog is not going to be playing.
I'm a big Jets guy.
He's the Jets homer.
I am the Jets homer. My wife is named Marge, and I live in Springfield. No one got that joke? That was a joke.
Yes.
There you go, RA.
No idea.
Anyways, I actually think this will be pretty fun. I think both teams have a very good forward core.
Yeah.
Very deep. I do think the Avs probably have like the better defense core because they have more high end. I mean, Josh Morrissey has been very assist heavy the past few years, so
good offense defenseman for sure.
Yeah. And but this also comes down to goaltending, and by far one team has the better goalie than the other. So I think this makes it a very interesting series because it's like they're close on forwards. Avs probably take defense, but Winnipeg definitely takes goalie. So I again see this being a very close series that goes the length. They have winners in Colorado, but that doesn't mean that Winnipeg won't show up. And it'll be a good series.
This is probably going to be the most fun series in terms of like just closeness of teams. The whole season, it's been them just flip-flopping between second and third because Dallas has been pretty far ahead for a while now. But I'd give the edge on forwards to Avs pretty much just because of the high-end forwards. I prefer the Avs high-end forwards to the higher-end forwards on Winnipeg. But as Evan said, they are both very deep forward cores, which the Avs forward core was a lot deeper than I actually expected, which was kind of what I was assuming going into this, that Winnipeg's was going to out-depth them. And then the D core, yeah, I definitely give that to the Avs. Just from top to bottom, they're just better D core. Though there are some guys on the Jets D core that are kind of like playoff type guys that I can see being a factor. Goaltending, we'll see. Goaltending, Hellebuck is by far the best goalie in the series, obviously, but also Vezina Trophy this year is pretty much locked for him. He's had like 7 playoffs, and he's only really performed in one of them. So I think that's a thing for him if he can get over that and be the caliber of goalie that we're used to him being in the regular season in the playoffs. Then I can see this being like a very tough series for the Avs to win.
On the other end, if McKinnon and Makar are McKinnon and Makar, I see it's very tough for Winnipeg to win.
And Rantanen. Don't forget Rantanen.
Yes, and Rantanen, yes.
And Parise.
So yeah, it's gonna be really close.
This is a toss-up of toss-ups.
It's a toss-up. I agree it comes down to Hellebuck here if he performs, but at the same time, I mean,
I can't assume that
I
he performs.
understand.
He hasn't in the playoffs yet.
Yeah,
So
I understand that both forward cores are both forward groups are close. I do get it. I just still don't think that there's any competition when it comes to McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar. I think there's no competition. So
yeah,
like I don't think there
that's the
is.
thing. I'd easily give the edge to like I'm not, and that's not me saying that like that the Jets have a bad forward core or the Jets have a bad D core. I just think that the Avs D core and forward core I definitely give to the Avs, but
Yeah,
then the discrepancy in goaltending is not even close.
yeah. But that's what I mean.
I think it's me. That's why Hellebuck is the X factor.
Yeah, so that's why he's the X factor because like the way that we think that goaltending is not close is how I actually think that in general, sure, forwards are close, but I don't think it's close when you bring in McKinnon, Rantanen, and when you bring in Makar in there. I don't think it's close for in that sense. Like I don't think anyone on Winnipeg as a group, yes, they're great. I don't think anyone on Winnipeg gives you the firepower of McKinnon or Makar. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's close in that matter. Like not at all, because they're beasts. But yeah, but I think it's gonna be a close series if people who are supposed to perform.
Yeah. The decor on the Jets is like they're all a bunch of like outside Morrissey and Pionk are very offensive defensemen, and then the other four are just large dudes that like
Which
DeMelo's
does
good
help in
defensively.
playoffs. It's shown.
Yeah. Oh, like I think DeMelo is good defensively. Dylan is okay defensively, and Stanley and Sandberg are just big. They're not good defensively.
But
They're just
Schmidt
it's,
will be back.
Schmidt is back, but he was healthy scratch, so we don't know if he's actually been playing or not. So that's a coaching decision. I don't know. But the thing is, I think the Jets also weren't heavily reliant on their decor to be amazing this season because of the way Hellebuck plays. Like he overshadows a lot of their defensive errors. Because he is one of the more he has some of the more high danger saves in the league. Like he's up there for sure, and I think he leads in goal save above average. So he has proven that he can play behind mid level decor and still perform. So as long as he does that, I think this is a triple overtime game 7 series.
Jets in 6.
6.
Oh, all
That's
right.
a hot take.
Sophie, what are you up?
Avs in 7.
It's gonna be 7 games. I'm gonna say Abs in 7 as well. Yeah, I think as I said, I think the McKinnon and Makar factor is gonna pull up in Game 7 and win the series.
Yeah, I think if it goes 7, Avs win for sure.
Yeah. As much as I wanted to say Winnipeg, I already did want to say Winnipeg. I think
I wrote Winnipeg down. It's 7. I still said Avs. Because the more you kept saying McKinnon and Rantanen and Makar,
But I would argue, even though they have the higher end talent on Colorado, if one of them doesn't perform and Hellebuck does, like even if McKinnon lights it up, but Makar isn't doing as well, then that also makes it more difficult for them,
There is
especially
a
because you're
this goes
assuming
back
that
to
Colorado is also going to let in a decent amount of goals with Georgiev.
but we're not though, because the Avs don't let in a lot of goals, even though they have no matter what goalie they have because their decor is so good.
Sorry, what was the score recently against? I don't remember what team. They lost like 9-1 or something, or 9-3.
Bro, at the end of the season, anything can happen, man. I'm gonna
In
keep
the
bringing up the
playoffs,
captain
anything can
rumors,
happen.
bro. The thing is, fair enough, but you guys are both history guys. I am averse to history sometimes. The one thing I will say is with player performance specifically, if a guy has done it recently and multiple times, I'm more likely to favor him over someone that hasn't. Hellebuck hasn't really done it yet in the playoffs. I'm not saying that he can't or that he won't, but he hasn't. Where Makar, McKinnon, Rantanen have all recently done it, and are both and all three of them are extremely hot coming into this playoff series. So with that, I would give them the edge. Okay, Vancouver Canucks lineup. First line, Nils Hoglander, Elias Pettersson, Ilya Mikheyev. Wow. Pius Suter, JT Miller, and Brock Besser are the second line. Third line is Dakota Joshua, Elias Lindholm, and Connor Garland. Interesting. Fourth line is Podkolzin, Bluger, and Lafferty. D pairs are Quinn Hughes, Philip Hronik, Carson Soucy, Tyler Myers, and then Zadorov and Ian Cole. And goalie wise, they have obviously Demko and Casey DeSmith to back up.
Yep. Injuries, Tucker Pullman, undisclosed injury. He's on IR. And Thatcher Demko is making he's coming back today, I believe. He's playing tonight. So
They have Demko in the starting lineup and in injuries, by the way.
yeah, they do. Yeah. But yeah, so Demko is back. He was away, but he's back.
Yeah. Okay, the Nashville Predators lineup. First line, Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist. Second line, Jason Zucker, Colton Sissons, and Mark Jankowski. Third line, Anthony Beauvillier, Tommy Novak, Luke Evangelista. That's another Evan, kind of.
Yeah.
Cole Smith, Michael McCarron, and Kiefer Sherwood. The D pairs are Ryan McDonough, throwback, and Roman Yossi. Jeremy Lazon, Dante Fabro. Third D pair is Spencer Stastny and Luke Shen. And then they got UC Saros and Kevin Lankinen in net.
And no injuries for the Nashville Predators.
All right, so Vancouver, Nashville, I see being a pretty interesting series, actually. Shout out to Nick St. Denis. He thinks this is the upset. He thinks Nashville absolutely kicks Vancouver's butt. With a healthy Thatcher Demko, both teams have a phenomenal goalie. I think they both have solid-ish defense cores. They have one guy above the rest for sure. And then both teams have some high-end talent on forward. I think Vancouver has a little bit more. But I see this being a pretty close series, pretty interesting. But yeah, I do see maybe some experience taking over.
The thing is, like, before we came into this, I was very inclined to take Nashville upset. After reading the lineups, it was like, I don't know so much anymore. But I don't know. I think it's still gonna be a close series because of the way Nashville is kind of built. Trotz isn't the coach anymore, but he is the GM. So I feel like he kind of makes decisions based off how he coaches. And this is a very boring defensive team, like his Islanders teams. Very similar, actually. Strong goalie, one superstar forward, and a good decor. I think it really comes down to Nashville superstars performing. Plus, this is the first time we've seen this Vancouver core in the playoffs, right?
True.
So they're either gonna pop off in the playoffs in the first year, which we've seen some guys do, and we've seen some guys completely falter. So we'll see what happens there, but their top players are just gonna have to try to get through the very stout decor defensive play of Nashville to win the series.
Yeah, so I struggle with this one a lot because I honestly don't really know. I wanna say Vancouver because I do like their players more in terms of offense anyway. We've never seen them in the playoffs before, so we'll see. I mean, we've seen JT Miller in the playoffs before, but I haven't seen Pedersen and
That was a long time ago as well.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was very young JT Miller.
Yeah, so I don't know if I really wanna like this is one series I really want to say Vancouver because I would love
Same.
for them to win. Like I really want to say them. I don't know if I can, but I really want to say them. At the end of, I mean,
If I'm looking at all three of their sections here, I'd give all three of them to Vancouver.
yeah,
Forwards, I give Vancouver. Decor, I get to Vancouver. Goalie is close. I could even say equal, but from how the season has gone, I'd give it to Demko. How Saros has played the last 2 years, I give it to Demko. But it's still, I could count that as equal.
yeah. I do think the experience of guys like Ryan O'Reilly and
Yeah.
Yossi is gonna play.
Forsberg even.
Sorry?
Forsberg was great in Nashville's
Yeah.
playoff run.
Yeah, exactly. I think the experience of these guys is gonna play a big factor. So that's why I think Nashville has a great shot here too. I think it's gonna be a close series though in general. Assuming
Yeah.
Vancouver's guys play well in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think we can go to predictions on this one now.
I'm going to say strictly because I'm going to Vancouver in May. I would like to see games in May, so I'm going Vancouver.
You see, I had Preds in 7 listed down. I'm not going with that. I'm going Canucks in 6.
I'm gonna go Canucks in 7.
I feel like all three of us could be wrong there, but let's see.
Oh, for sure. It could be a Nashville sweep.
That's a tough one.
So your Dallas Stars lineup: line 1, Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski; line 2, Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, Evgeny Dadonov; line 3, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston, Logan Stankoven; and line 4, Sam Steele, Radek Faksa, and Craig Smith. Defense pairings: your first pairing is Thomas Harley and Miro Heiskanen; Ryan Suter and Chris Tanev on the second pairing; Esa Lindell and Nils Lundqvist on the third pairing. And your goalies are Jake Ottinger and Scott Wedgwood. Alrighty. This is going to be fun from an injury standpoint. Alright, your Vegas Golden Knights lineup. Line 1. I'm so happy you're reading injuries on this one.
The irony.
Alright, Vegas Golden Knights, line 1, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, Jonathan Marchessault. Line 2, Paul Cotter, Thomas Hertl, Pavel Dorofeyev. Line 3, Brett Howden, William Karlsson, Michael Amadio. Line 4, Jonas Rondberg, Nicholas Roy, Keegan Polisar. And defense pairings, pairing 1, Noah Hannafin and Nicholas Haig. Pairing 2, Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore. And pairing 3, Zach Whitecloud, Alec Martinez. And your goalies are Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill.
All right. Returning from death for the 3rd year in a row, we may have Mark Stone. Well, there's game 1, game 2, game 3. He'll be in there at some point. And I'm saying death because he has been revived for 3 years in a row. Alex Pietrangelo just has an illness. He'll be there for game 1, I'd imagine. Chandler Stephenson is out Tuesday, but he's day-to-day. Will probably be playing game 1. William Carrier is not going to travel for 2 games, so he is also questionable for game 1. Anthony Mantha out on Tuesday, considered day-to-day, so he is also potential for game 1 as well. You might see a whole completely different lineup in game 1.
So for Dallas and Vegas, I think that Dallas kind of got screwed over a little bit because they were by far the best team in the Western Conference, consistency-wise and on paper, and they end up getting the cheating Rascals. So I still think Dallas wins this pretty convincingly, but I think this is going to be a harder test than they anticipated going into the first round. Like when you're the best team in the West, you're kind of hoping for like a breeze in the first round, or at least someone that you know you can like handle. But the problem with Vegas is we have no idea what kind of level they're going to be playing at coming into the playoffs. For any team, like they could be how they were in the regular season, or they could be how they were in the playoffs last year, and no one really knows because we don't know what level Mark Stone's at. We don't know which goalie's going to be playing well because they've kind of been flip-flopping all year. And some of their players have gotten older, and we're trying to see like what they have left in the tank. And honestly, Thomas Hertl as well. He's a great player, but he's like 3 games into playing after missing pretty much the whole season. So we don't actually know what kind of impact he's going to make. Where Dallas, we know pretty much everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that Thomas Hertl is coming back and he's going to be rusty. I would say if Mark Stone comes back, he's also going to need some time to like get back into game form. I know that with Dallas, they have all the firepower right now, and they have, I think they match up. I think that I would say even like line by line, Dallas probably matches
Line by line, they take it easy for sure.
They take it easy.
Yeah.
I'm just not 100% sure that this is a Dallas win.
Well, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I would still probably go lean towards them. I'm not, because how can you count Vegas out in any series? Like, I would say with Vegas, they're gonna like even more so. They're gonna try to beat up on Dallas.
Hmm. I don't know. I think that just based on what we see as their teams this year, disregarding the past, like Dallas is as deep or deeper on forwards, but they have way more firepower, like in terms of superstar firepower. Where Vegas has Eichel, who is like a point per game player, but then they have like a bunch of like really good second liners to really good third liners, where Dallas has a bunch of really good second and third liners, but then they have Robertson, Pavelski, and Hintz.
Yeah,
They have Ben and Sagan, who are playing at a high level again. They have Wyatt Johnston, Mason Marchment, Dadonov, whoever else. I can't even remember their whole team, to be honest.
and also a lot of their players like Sagan, Ben, if he's in form, Pavelski, these are playoff performers as well.
Precisely, yeah. That's the other thing I was going to say. Like we've seen a bunch of Dallas's players perform in the playoffs, and now they've just gotten better too. So like we make all these comments about Vegas having all this stuff that they add at the deadline plus experience, but then Vegas also added the best defensive defenseman at the deadline in Chris Tanev, who's looked amazing in Dallas as well. They have a goalie that's performed in the playoffs, and they have all the depth in the world with a bunch of young talent plus a bunch of young talent plus guys that have performed in playoffs. So I think for me, this is pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I think also X factor in this one, Robertson.
Yeah.
Well, because we're
He got
seeing
going in the playoffs, but he was bad at the start.
yes, yeah. So if he turns it on against Vegas too, and like they have that added, then I think this is going to be really tough for Vegas.
The thing is, even if Robertson doesn't perform, they have Hintz, Pavelski, Ben, Sagan, Mason Marchment, Johnston, Duchesne. Duchesne was the guy I forgot.
Yeah, Duchesne.
Dadonov. And then defensively, I still give it to Dallas. They have one of the best decors in the league with Haskin and Lindell, Tanev, Suter, like with Ottinger and net. There's no question marks anywhere for Dallas.
Yeah,
where there's a lot of question marks for Vegas, whether people like it or not.
Yeah, and the other thing, well, yesterday I put on the game a bit, like for like a few minutes, the Vegas game. I saw Marchessault was playing and stuff. I don't know if they rested anyone yesterday. I don't think they would have, considering
They didn't.
they didn't rest anyone, right? Yeah, so I don't how they lost 4-1. I don't.
Yeah, against the Ducks.
Huh?
They had the Cutter Goche magic. He played his first game yesterday.
Yeah. So nah, they could have gone into a series versus Edmonton, and now they got that. Oh man.
Yeah.
That was a win they needed.
Yeah.
All right. What's your prediction?
I'm probably a little bit more Dallas heavy on this one than probably more other people. I'm going Dallas in 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Dallas in 7.
Fair. And our man that isn't here, Evan, picked Dallas in 7 as well.
All right. So line 1 for the Edmonton Oilers: Adam Henrique, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman. Line 2: Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, Warren Fogle. Line 3: Dylan Holloway, Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry. Line 4: Matthias Janmark, Sam Carrick, and Connor Brown. Your first defensive pairing is Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard. Second pairing is Brett Kulak and Vincent Desharnais. And third pairing is Philip Broberg and Troy Stetcher. Goalies are Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard.
Injury-wise, I mean, Evander Kane's going to be in the lineup. He was maintenance. He'd probably line up next to McLeod and Corey Perry on the third line. Darnell Nurse is also ready for game 1. He was also taking maintenance. For today, he plays with Troy Stetcher, I believe. So it'd be Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Desharnais, and Ekholm Bouchard. And then Cody Ceci is also day-to-day. It's Nurse and Ceci, and Stetcher and Broberg are out.
Okay, your LA Kings lineup: line 1, Quinton Byfield, Anze Kopitar, Adrian Kempe. Line 2, Trevor Moore, Philip Deneau, Victor Arvidsson. Line 3, Kevin Fiala, Blake Lizotte, Trevor Lewis. Line 4, Alex Laferriere, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Alex Turcotte. I read Alex Laferriere and I was like, Lafreniere is on. Defense pairings. Pairing 1, Mikey Anderson, Drew Doughty. Pairing 2, Vladislav Gavrikov, Matt Roy. Line 3, Andreas Englund and Jordan Spence. And your goalies are Cam Talbot and David Riddich.
LA's injuries are Phoenix Copley, who is season-ending surgery, and Carl Grunstrom, who is on a conditioning load, so he might actually be in the lineup.
All right, we got Edmonton and LA again for the third time.
Third year in a row. Yeah.
Third year in a row. Okay, so they went. Wait, Edmonton's won both, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edmonton's won both. Yeah, I don't see it changing this year.
You know what's funny though? The teams have changed. Like the core stayed the same, but the teams have changed around them every single year.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite significantly.
So last year for LA, we had Korpisalo in net, right?
Corpusalo, you didn't have Dubois.
And you didn't have Dubois. So now we have Dubois, and in net they've got who they got in net this year?
Talbot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think at every position, Edmonton is better.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, they have the firepower. I think LA has proven they can stay in games with them, and they've gone the distance at 6-7 games with them. So by no means do I think it's going to be Edmonton in 4, Edmonton in 5. No way. I think LA has shown 2 years in a row that they make it a series and it can go all the way. It's gone to a game 7. I just think that there's no, like, McDavid and Draisaitl are going to destroy again. Like if it was Edmonton, Vegas, like we thought it might have been, I think they would have done a bit of a better job, possibly containing Draisaitl / Edmonton or or / McDavid or even one of them. But I don't think LA can contain them. I think it's going to be, with this series, I always find it's close but not close. You always know Edmonton's going to win, but LA doesn't go away easy.
Yeah, they even win the first couple of games sometimes, and Edmonton just comes back.
Exactly.
I will say that the thing for Edmonton this year is they have an improved Stuart Skinner going into the playoffs. He's been top 5 goalie since new head coach took over. And then Ekholm and Bouchard have been one of the best pairs in the league. One of the best defensive pairs in the league, both offensively and defensively. So I think going into the playoffs with those two is a completely different dynamic that they had in the past. Because last year going into the playoffs, they had Bouchard, who wasn't playing at the level that he is now, and they also had Ekholm, who was injured going into the playoffs. And it was very evident that like the D-core was kind of just not where the rest of the team was. And then on top of that, they added like a ton of they added some depth scoring, which I think they just needed, like in Henrique. And then also I think Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and Evander Kane are going to perform better in the playoffs than they have in the last couple of years.
And the thing with Edmonton's defense is, yeah, we know Bouchard's going to put up points and he gets power play and stuff, but Ekholm has been putting up points
and being amazing defensively.
And he doesn't play power play. He does he does what he does even strength. So that's another factor. Like Ekholm's going to be a huge factor this season.
And the thing is too, Kulak and Desharnais they're like a solid bottom pair. Like they put up really good numbers against teams like second, third lines, etc. And they played really well. I think the X factor for the Edmonton in the playoffs, not just this series, because I think in this series they can get away with them being mid. Nurse and CC have to be what they were in the second half of the season and not the first half of the season, because Nurse in the second half of the season was really good and CC was tolerable. First half of the season, Nurse wasn't as good, and it was for a lot of like their deficiencies. But if Nurse plays the way he did in the second half of the season, then this is probably the best Oilers team that we're seeing going into the playoffs.
With that being said, where are you going? Edmonton in 6.
We got Evan also saying Edmonton in 6, and I'm also saying Edmonton in 6.
Yeah.
The straight sweep of 6s. Okay.